It's my privilege to stand with these guests today, but also with tangata whenua, Tanya Wihongi, just acknowledging you, Tan, as tangata whenua, Ngāti Pūking and Ngāti Maru, Ngāpui, and of course, Manaia, hard. I would also like to acknowledge Dale-Maree, Ngāti Raukawa, Ngāti Maniāpoto, and much more, who's come all the way with her husband Steve, all the way from Narua Wahia to share her wisdom as a Māori ward councillor. So Tanya's sharing as a wahine toa who basically knows this district like the back of her two very hard-working, busy hands, and knows the vision that we as Pākehā need to join with in order to make a positive future for all. And Dale-Maree, she's going to tell us a few things about being a Māori councillor and all that goes with that and what that means for us. And last but by no means least, Andrew Judd, former Mayor of New Plymouth, who's come all the way from New Plymouth because of this kaupapa, which is pretty extraordinary. And it's, taranaki hard, eh? So we have, I've known Andrew for quite a while. We walked to Parihaka with Andrew's leadership when he was mayor, and I had the privilege of being on that walk. And that was just the beginning of his public profile, which he will explain to you because it's a really interesting story. But we're basically here today because not to debate Māori wards, but to look at and share information about them. And then we're also on the campaign trail, and so we'll have a few things to say about that afterwards. But, and the campaign is not an individual, the campaign is Māori wards. But I think you'll hear more about that from our people. Andrew, would you like to go first? Because it's always kind of good to start the furthest out and then move into the closest. just to feel free. And we're going to have questions after the quarter of the three of them, but this can be very relaxed. It can be a conversation. It's not a big room. It's not 1,000 people. We can have a genuine conversation. So feel free to think about what you would like to bring up in a constructive way. And if I think it's not, I'll just be shutting you down. That's my experience as a facilitator. But we're here for a really good talk, and I'd like to start with you, my brother.
Kia ora. Kia ora te whānau, Andrew Judd Tukungoa. Someone once said to me, not long ago actually, that Maoris are lazy. Maoris fill our jails. The Maori elite wrought the settlement process for their own personal gain. The rest, they just want social welfare handouts. Maoris are tribal by nature. That's why they're easily drawn into gangs. And the Maori language is a waste of time. You can't speak that anywhere else in the world. Why are we bothering? They've got to get over the past and move on. In any case, we're all one now. Do you know who said that to me? I said that to me. My name is Andrew Judd, and I'm a recovering racist. 2013, I got elected to the mayoralty. I'd spent 2 terms as a councillor. My campaign slogan was "Let's bring honesty to local politics." The narrative underpinning that slogan was ageing infrastructure, ageing population base on low fixed income, and increasing rates. We weren't being honest about those challenges. Little did I know that the question of honesty in politics would come to me in a way that I could never have imagined. And the first challenges in that respect was the question of Māori representation. So you may or may not recall or know, but what you may do, and that is all councils in New Zealand have to undertake every 6 years a representative review. And that makes sense. Why? Communities grow, shrink, change, move around. So you may have a new subdivision. And we operate under representative democracies, don't we? Parliament is the House of Representatives. We have electorate seats. Councils are no different. The first question in that process is whether or not to establish a Māori ward seat. Our council voted to establish a Māori ward seat, all by one councillor, and one resigned on the day, 1 week later. That ignited an angry, telling community response, but a response that I saw myself in. Do you know, until I was the mayor, I'd done 2 terms as a councillor, As I say, I was late 40s at that time. I'd never been on a marae. I'd never engaged in the Māori world. In fact, if you'd said to me the Māori world, I would have, what are you talking about? You're all one, gone. But I found myself in this position, engaging in the Māori world. And that experience was, I was at odds with what was happening, because how I'd been raised to view Māori wasn't matching what I was feeling, what I was experiencing, and what I was learning. And within that scope, I realised there is a difference, a cultural difference. You know, why do we have Māori ward seats? Well, first of all, you're required to under the Local Electoral Act, or Local Government Act, to include Māori in decision making. Why? Because it's based on the treaty. So when people say it's race-based seats, well, it's actually treaty-based seats. This ability to petition to remove or retain is race-based. And a little bit of hypocrisy from central government when the National Party at the last election stood candidates in the Māori seats for Parliament. Yet when it comes to local government, divide us. One of the things I didn't mention last time, but I was privileged in the time as mayor, because that is a very special privileged position. Any elected representative said actually, yeah, but we had a visit from the then Prince Charles, came to New Plymouth. I know. I'm not saying I'm a royalist, but what an opportunity to ask. Because when you're sworn into office, part of the wording is that you swear allegiance to the majesty of the areas and graces. And I was skilled by the powers to be that you don't talk to the prince unless you're spoken to, all this stuff. Anyway, walking along the walkway, and I said, the walkway's a great asset for the community, and blah, blah. And I said, one of the challenges I've got, sir, because I call him sir, is establishing Māori voices at the council table. What do you think he said? Māori must always be at the top decision table. So whenever these politicians swear allegiance to the now king, who actually is the treaty holder of the treaty partner with Māori, he is saying Māori must be at the top table. And it's really saddening, isn't it, that the whole structure that we have, albeit European of course, even Māori ward seats, is a European construct. Māori didn't ask for Māori ward seats. Yet who gets bashing around if a council establishes a Māori ward seat? Who gets the blame for it? Let's be honest. This ability to petition, it's not only colonisation, it's pinpoint racism. No other voice is exposed to this journey. Whether you agree with Māori ward seats or not, step back from that and think, is it right that we empower the majority to determine the human and political rights of an Indigenous minority? It's really bad behaviour. But normal behaviour. Does the fish know it's wet? Because we think it's our we call it, that's democracy. Is it? We can't petition any other voice. So I know you know this. Of course, the kaupapa today is around Māori ward seats. Our community at that time could petition, so 83% said no. So it went to referendum, shops banned. It was quite telling and hurtful to see that the motivation that people had to get their petition numbers in as quickly as they could. And so it happened in record time, 83% rejection, lost. Fellow mayors at the time took me out for a conference and said, you've got to stop embarrassing the district. You make us look like a bunch of rednecks. Well, hang on a minute. Māori ward seats are about being inclusive. Redneckery comes from having a voice to take it away, I would have thought. And I say that because once the petition ability was removed by Labour at the time, all 4 councils in Taranaki have Māori ward seats. And you know what's happened since then? That's right, nothing. In fact, it's been beautiful. They all are advocates. All those mayors and all those councillors. The relationship it's not there yet, of course, but it's way further down than what it ever's been. Because let's be honest, Māori ward seats aren't really the destination, are they? They're part of the journey.
Correct.
Because I always argue, and still do, actually, it should be half each. I don't know what kind of contract you think, but it should be 1 out of, say, in Plymouth's example, 15 seats, 1 seat for Māori. And that's elected. Just like we've got Māori seats in Parliament. So even when people say, oh, you shouldn't have any seats like that for Māori, I say, well, would you take them away for Parliament? It's exactly the same thing. In actual fact, when it comes to legislation, councils is where the relationship hits the road. With all the land use and consent, everything, that's the real space of it. Not Parliament in Wellington, us. So it's a pleasure to be invited to share some of this around. There's lots I could say, of course. Politicians still maybe, shouldn't they? But I mean, there's advocates here, maybe some that aren't too sure. I know there's conversations in our family circles and friends' work can be tricky because you meet people and you have to think, are they wanting to talk to me to learn, or they just want to stay in their silo and have an argument? And it can be tough, right? It's good stuff. But what we do at our time is what makes the difference for tomorrow. Isn't that what life is? A cycle of making it better for tomorrow. So he's staunch advocates. And here's some great quality from these two speakers, more than me. But wrapping up, I, towards the end of that term, decided I would seek re-election. Not that I didn't want to, of course I wanted to. But because it's not about the individual, it's about who we are. How do we actually care for each other? How do we get around the table as treaty partners? We need, from my perspective and view, actually a whole new system. I call it February 7th, actually. Start again. Something that works for us. We're not England. We're America. We're here. We're us. And Māori seats, whilst not, as I say, the destination, they are part of that. All be at one. Look at the challenge to get one. Kia ora. Thank you.
Thank you very much, because although many people in this audience possibly would support it, sometimes we don't know to look at ourselves, and we're looking for arguments to persuade others. But you're always very strong about making sure you own your own stuff before you go out there and campaign. And we've got a referendum in 3 days' time. In your mailbox, the referendum will come that says keep or not. And there are many conversations we need you to have if we're going to save this referendum. And particularly, I don't want to be sizist, but on this side of the peninsula where there's a lot of people living who have quite a lot of privilege, who have not been exposed to these ideas, and you know that better than me. Hobson Pledge don't appeal to be coming to the meeting. I'm slightly disappointed because I'm Irish and I like arguing, but actually that's not the point. The point is to understand at a deep level in ourselves so that we can take it out there for our own people. So I'm just going to hand it over to my wonderful friend from who I met today, who knows all the same people. So it's awesome. Thank you so much, Dale-Maree, and thank you, Andrew. You don't have to stand up if you want to sit down.
Yeah, I might just sit down.
It's been a long day and a long week.
It's tuatai, tēnā koe voi, I whakatūwhirata tātou hui, I raro I te maru o pare hauraki. Tēnā koutou nā mana whenua o tēnei rohe. Tēnā koutou, te whānau o Whitianga. Thank you all for coming today and greeting Andrew, Nai, Tanya, Catherine, everyone who's put this together. I'm mahi to you all. I hail from a beautiful place called Raukawa ki Wharepūhunga, Raukawa ki Paniākua, Ngāti Maniāpoto, and also Te Awa Mārahi at the top of Tuakauti. Shemai, because I must honour my other tupuna as well. And I'll pull them out earlier than what I did at the last tweet. I didn't know I had a local government background. But the gentleman that sits in here, my karaua, he's over, now I've got my glasses on, there he is, the one with the bald head. His name is William Triglawan Thomas. He got off the Cicero boat in 1883 in Littleton, and he was the first mayor of Woolston Borough. Woolston Borough then turned into Christchurch City, eventually. These are my strong Lovely, Welsh, roots from Aberdeen. I'm also from the south of Bournemouth. I'm English, and I'm also Scottish. I'm from Glasgow, and my family were deemed as soap dodgers, which I think is pure dead brilliant, because my grandpa actually had a bath every day in our house in Christchurch. He was very much not a soap dodger. So I bring my relations out because this aesthetic, nobody can see them. And there is a distinct saying we have in our tribes, ko au, ko koe, ko au. I am you and you are me. And with each other we will exist really well. I do say to people when I have certain people come to me and go, why can't we be one? Let's just all be happy and be one. And I go, yep, you be like me, we're sorted. And of course, you just see this big middle, it's like, what? Oh, no, that's not what I meant. And I say to them gently, I don't want to be like you either, because you're unique to you and I'm unique to me. So how do we coexist well together in this beautiful place? Now, this man here, I didn't realise, but in his diaries and writings that he has, my uncle has shared with me that he made mention that it was Te Tiriti that enabled them to come to Aotearoa. Why they chose to leave what he, in his words, said was downtrodden northern hemisphere, where people used to throw things out the window that they had excreted onto the streets of where we used to live. And I kind of think about that as a way that people also look at tribes as being heathen or uncivilized. But with our tikanga, we always had places of where we would deal with that sort of stuff, just like we do in council. But sometimes at council we just don't get it right to where sewage goes some days, as many of us know. So in saying that, I've had the privilege of being the Waipā Māori board for 2 years. I won a by-election. I did not envision myself to be in local government at all. And the reason my friend Catherine says that we know many people, I have a background in activism. The reason I have a background in activism is because I used to work in community homes and I've always batted for the underdog and the people that have always been put in the too hard basket. And whether they have been Māori, whether they have been Pākehā and anyone else in between. We are all people that need to survive well. I advocate for abundance and abundance for everybody. When Matariki comes, we talk to Hiwa Iterangi. Hiwa Iterangi, please bring us abundance. Now, abundance might just be, don't flood us out, Cyclone Gabriel, And I bring up Cyclone Gabriel in this context because when we have disasters in this country, who opens their doors? None of us stand at those doors and say, no, I remember you were a dick and you didn't vote for me because you didn't like Māori walks. You stay out there, we're not going to feed you and give you a moinga to sleep in. That's not part of our manaakitanga. That would actually hurt me if I heard people do that sort of stuff. Now, I've actually got people on my table at Waipa, and don't get me wrong, I actually really like all my peers, even if they don't want me at the table. Because that's also a richness and difference. I bring diversity, so do their beliefs, and I respect their beliefs, because that is what we bring as a rich fabric of Aotearoa. My Welsh whānau, my Scottish whānau, and my English whānau would never have come here if they weren't looking for better fabrics. Look at my darling over there, he's first generation Kiwi. I am so pro-Māori, it does not mean that I am anti-Pākehā when I marry her. Anna, I was birthed from a Pākehā lady, and she's stunning, my mum. Unfortunately, my mum had to work in prisons for 36 years of her life. So my mum's also seen the outcomes of poverty, of dysfunction, and she knows that I'm a mokopuna of Ōrākau. And if anyone doesn't know about Ōrākau, that was the last colonial battle that we had in this country. My people, we're known as the peach pip people. We ran out of bullets and we used peach pips from our grove to use as bullets to defend our land. Now, in saying that, if I walked up to you today and I said to you, okay, leave your house, I'm just going to drive my car up, but you're not allowed to come back anymore, you'll get over it in a few generations, it's all right. Believe me, you will, you know. We wouldn't really, recovering from that is really hard, but actually we can recover. We can go from that uncomfortable space to a comfortable space, because truth actually doesn't have to hurt us. Truth enables us to know how we will better do things in the future. And I look at people like Andrew and I think, oh, he is the person that will make sure that I stay in this. My mokopuna said to me a few weeks ago, her first language is te reo.
Yeah.
And she stood up and she said to me in te reo, I'm going to be in the council one day, Nani. And it actually broke my heart, because I don't want her to come into a space, in the same space where I receive death threats now, for bringing the one voice that sits with 11 others. Who has the power? Not me. But the power I do bring is magic. And the kind of magic that I want to talk about today are things like bringing rates down. People talk about debt ceilings. They talk about my council being 400 and something million in debt. And oh my God, how the heck are you fellas going to do that? And I sat there 2 years in thinking, we didn't create these funding models. We didn't create these debt ceilings. And as a solutionist, I've never been part of being able to help create some better ways of doing things. Alternative revenue. We choose not to have values with our EV partnerships, which we're also choosing not to have alternative revenue incomes. That's true. I'm an elected governor also at Waikato Tainui. 30 years we celebrated this year, well not celebrated, commemorated our settlement. And I want to put context to that settlement, because in that settlement we are meant to create social services. Every ministry we have in Wellington, we got to get out of that settlement and save our people. And it's actually gone bugger all, and it was what, 0.1 something of redress to what we lost. And we're meant to create housing, we're meant to recover, we're meant to do a whole bunch of darn things with that one thing. But there's 70,000 of us that are registered with the tribe now. That's a lot of people that we've got to work hard for. Yes, we do have a corporate side. Now, I'm just looking at a few people who understand settlements. One hand, two hands. Wow. It's a bit like civics, eh? We don't teach civics in our school curriculum. There's a reason for that. We don't teach tax systems in our school system. There's a reason for that too.
That's right. Financial literacy would be good.
Why don't we teach that?
I tried it, but
We don't teach it
I want people to be
because if we get empowered,
Capitalism.
then there's a problem. Yeah? I know that just turning up some days and just breathing as a Māori woman pisses people off. So I keep turning up.
Keep breathing too, sis.
Yeah. But when people see that my husband is a beautiful Pākehā man, they actually realise I'm not anti-Pākehā. I am Pākehā, but what I bring to this table is a unique voice that's never been here. I shared in the last hui the connections I've made just for council. I've actually saved our council in litigation cases because we're really bad at relationships. So we have no litigation cases as now. They were with people that we could not do business with well. But they're all gone now because I've dealt with them. I dealt with a memorial park where we have an unsanctioned group who goes and does stuff whatever they want. None of them are Māori, but I know if a Māori group went in there unsanctioned, we'd be banned, we'd be trespassed and we'd be charged. Okay? The differences are really imbalanced. And it's a bit like, if anyone heard about the Blue Blob disaster over in Cambridge, we went to a sanction meeting at a Bible chapel. Note, Bible chapel, okay? My mayor walks into that Bible chapel and a man walks straight up to her and says, "You need a bullet." Next elected councillor walks in, Claire St Pierre from Pirongia, "You need a bullet too." The meeting got shut down and police had to come in. It's pretty tragic in our country when people are threatened to have their lives with a bullet. A few days later, we had a debrief in our chambers. We all got called in about the situation, about the incident. And I just looked at my mayor after everybody had had a kōrero, and I said to her, "Mayor Susan, have you ever felt that so unsafe in the presence of iwi like that before? As you felt there in that Bible chapel, have you ever felt like that in the presence of iwi? Have we ever made you feel like that?" She said, "No." She said, "And every time that I've been with iwi, they've always embraced me, they've loved me, and they've cared and nurtured for me." I could not believe in a Bible chapel we had such feral behaviour that we were being dealt with. And I thought, wow, if a Māori person, now there were no charges came out of that, there was no follow-up to that, it didn't even really make the news, which is so vocal and loud any other time, especially when the Māori board says something. But we had no charges. Now let's flip that script. If a Māori man had walked in there and done that, he'd be in remand right now for threatening behaviour to kill. So, as my husband knows, NetSafe got a couple of complaints from me over the last couple of weeks, and I have someone being charged over cyberbullying and harassment who lives in his mum's basement in Dunedin.
Sad.
I'm in Waipa, bro. I'm on the other island. You're probably not even on the roll that I want the vote from. So I don't actually know what he was going to do. The magic we bring is things like, with Waikato Tainui, we have this Ruakura hub that is by the University of Waikato now. It's part of the land that we got back. It's taken us a while to get Hamilton City Council over the line to do some consents. But through that, though, we're after 30-year and 100-year relationships and partnerships. Those economic creations that we have create jobs and economic benefit for everybody. We create these things for everybody, but if you don't have us at the table, we will retract and we won't get the opportunity to work with those iwi to get part of that economic growing, I want to say. I was at Koroneihana this week and I acknowledged the Māori Queen at the end of this week. And while I was there, I was asked by different people in different tribes who do a lot of business in my area. We are watching the candidates and the businesses they are from. Now that was really telling for me because I've never heard them talk like that before. And they will start to retract from some of those businesses and they will not do business with them if they know the stance of how they feel about us. I've actually had a couple of my peers on my table. I've had to ask them to remove themselves out of some spaces where we do relationship work with iwi because I feel that they are a health and safety risk. Not only culturally inappropriate, but if I have the UAE, United Emirates, if I had a group of them coming over to invest with us, would I take a racist person in there to talk to them?
No way.
The International Economic Summit. Luxon didn't get the deals he wanted, but iwi did. Because investors overseas actually want to see some different stuff. They want to see what's unique about us. They want to know about the indigenous and holistic practices that not just Māori are doing. Many of us are doing these things, whether it's organic, whatever's, or just doing better native things properly in the bush, and regenerating places that used to have better diversity than what they have now in their current state. We actually save money at the council table. We don't create more cost, we actually reduce costs. But if you cut off our communities, you cut off solutions for doing things better in the future. So I could bang on all day. I won't, because I also know that it is, I have to give space to the mana whenua here, and I have to thank the mana whenua for allowing us to have this space. So, tīnā tātou.
Thank you so much, Dale-Maree, and it's chilling to, in the middle of a Māori Awards campaign where we're encouraging people to put themselves into these places, to hear about the death threats. But it's also inspiring to hear about the what's around you from your people in terms of looking very clearly at us to see where we stand. So this is a moment in history. This is a historic moment. But I think the historic moment for us in this room, apart from our two manuhiri, is what do we really know about our own area? Where do we really stand? And with how much knowledge and insight can we stand if we do not understand the basics around parihauraki? And we are very aware today that we're in Ngāti Hay space, and we're very aware because Joe Davis said, look, just go for it because I can't be there. And but we know that this is Ngāti Hay space. But how much do we know about where things have been built in this space, on what land? For us in Thames, if we had a Māori ward, I doubt that we would have a swimming pool built on top of an urepa. And that's an example that came from the first Whiti Māori Wards meeting, which we had. Someone said, what about this as an example? But you'll have your own. We built toilets on top of wahitapu throughout the entire history of Aotearoa. That was a cultural practice, almost like a deliberate practice. We shit on your culture. And those days need to be gone, but we can't get past them unless we listen to the vision of these people. So I want to hand over to Tanya now, and she's got her own whakaaro. So thank you so much, Tanya, for coming and being here. Ngāti Pūkenga, Ngāti Māori.
Ka mau ki te rangi he te whuna e tangata ko Ngāti Pūkenga e. Hauturu te maunga tika pa te moana mana ia te whenua e. A Māori ora te whare, tatu te whenua o Ngāti Hay. Tēnā kua, tēnā tātou katoa. Ko Waiau, he uri a hau no Ngāpui, Ngāti Maru, Ngāti Pūkenga, te Roroa, Ngāti Kahungunu, me Ngāti Whakaue, ko tāni au I hungi a hau. Now I'm going to have a seat. I'm not a seasoned speech deliverer like these two, so I came prepared. And I'm going to read the whole lot to you, because I want to educate. So I was asked to come along here today as a local person with both whakapapa, tūhia, and who resides in this area, to provide a kōrero about why I think you should keep Māori wards. I received suggestions on what I might want to talk about. I decided that I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to deliver it my way, what I want. So here goes. I am a mukapuna of stolen lands by a patriarchal system that forced my people into poverty for 185 years. A people and system that believes it is superior to my people, with a belief system that treats women like property, not equals. I am the mukapuna whose grandparents were legally assaulted in New Zealand school systems for speaking their own language, inside an education system whose first printed booklet promoted its judgments to my people to being inferior, unworthy, heathens, and in need of the big C, colonisation, which in part comes in laws and legislative acts that condones violations, disconnection, loss of identity and whakapapa, languaging and silencing of cultural intelligence. I am whānau of returned servicemen who fought for our country, yet when they returned home, they were treated differently from their counterparts. I am the child that lives by legislation and laws that is forced to watch the raping and pillaging of my whenua, the polluting of our waterways and the spewing of toxins into te taiao, the environment. I am wahine Māori who observes tāne, men, continuing to assume positions of power, yet there are so many powerful, intelligent, sharp, savvy, multi-talented and multitasking wahine who could fulfil the roles and still organise kai at the end of the day. Today, I am the mokopuna, the child, the mama, the tipuna, the auntie and friend to thousands. I carry with me violations of the past, the present, and to some degree, the future. However, this does not inhibit me. If anything, it propels me forward. I continue to learn my whakapapa and my identity. I am connected. I am slowly reclaiming my reo. I have relationships with my whenua, my waters, my marae, my whānau, my hapu and iwi, and the communities in which I live and work. I've become educated in mātauranga Māori and mātauranga Pākehā. I'm a mana to 3 strong, intelligent, loving, tenacious, remarkable and fluent te reo Māori speaking wahine. And the proud nana to 6 very energetic, inquisitive and curious whakapuna. When I look around my whenua, which is clearly in the TCDC area, I see multitudes of whānau Māori making significant contributions or have left behind legacies that continue today. These people do their part. They raise healthy, connected families, contribute to the safety of all women and children, families and communities. They contribute to the health and well-being of our environment, to the economy of the TCDC area, save lives, teach our children, are leaders in their own right, and revitalise Māori language and knowledge. For you to gain a little insight into what I see, I'm going to tell you about just a few of them. Makarita Desai. Auntie Makarita can often be found with her gumboots and a weed eater in her hand, or planting natives or vegetables and landscaping utilising recycled goods. When she's not doing this, she's either putting out real fires, driving fire trucks or coordinating communications with the Manaia fire station. Since the age of 20, Makarita has been involved with River and Land Care, Citizens Advice Bureau, served as a Māori warden, is a founder of the Manaia fire station, and continues to be in active service within fire and emergency. At 72 years of age, she was awarded the Queen MNZM, Member of New Zealand Order of Merit. She is 75 today and continues active service with Manaia Fire Station.
Angatira.
Rihanna Manuel. Rihanna Manuel is an accomplished executive with a proven track record in a number of settings at a local, regional and national level, enhancing capacity and stakeholder engagement through innovative management and strategic policy administration. She is expert in cross-functional team leadership and crisis management, achieving significant improvements, skilled in fostering governance and building effective teams. She drives revenue growth and operational excellence. Ree is also a registered nurse, healthcare manager, is an executive committee member for Te Korowai Hauroa Hauraki. Was the CEO of Te Korowai Hauroa Hauraki, and then was the chief executive of the Māori Health Authority. Ree is also the owner of Phoenix House in Coromandel, a 20-bed rest home and 10-bed private hospital that was established in 1987. When she is home, she could be found spending quality time with her mokopuna, or at the marae with an apron on, cooking or baking, in the kitchen or singing waiata in the wharenui. Harry Mikaere was one of the earliest mussel farmers on the Coromandel Peninsula. He has been the director of Parehauraki Fishing Trust and Aquaculture New Zealand, and established several successful aquaculture and health businesses in employing local people. He has developed capacity in aquaculture throughout Asia. He is a director of Hauraki Māori Trust Board and is chaired Pare Hauraki Asset Holdings. Te Korowai Haurua Hauraki, Te Kapa Moana Enterprises Limited, Hauraki Primary Health Organisation, Tainui Waka Alliance and Ngāti Pūhunga ki Manaia. In 2022, Harry Mikaere was awarded the CNZM, Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, a high-level honour awarded to individuals who have made significant contributions to New Zealand. School teachers. Martin Mikaere, Puna Wanaroa, Punahu Wilson, Senior, Miranda Kinney, Kākara Tangata Tai, Paina Mungawango, Te Oru Mikaere, Stacey Keelan, Connie Forsman, Rangi Kohu Baker, Betty Williams, Dawn Wehongi, Sue Williams, Honey Waitai, Hector Te Hau Marangai Connor, Te Maharanui Mikaere, Ashley Povey, Sam Rapira, Tyron Bevan, Hone Manuel, and Ngā Wehe Mikaere. These amazing Māori are all school teachers who have either taught or continue to be teaching varying subjects, are all fluent Te Reo Māori speakers, possess Māori intelligence that cannot be learnt in books alone, and some have either been or are still principals. Today, many of them continue to be teachers at Te Wharekura o Manaia. Te Wharekura o Manaia is a kura a iwi and a legacy. It is dedicated to the revival and survival of the four main local iwi, Ngāti Maru, Ngāti Tamatera, Ngāti Panaunga and Ngāti Pūhunga, 4 of the 12 iwi of Hauraki. The kura previously operated as Manaia Primary School, and prior to that, the Manaia Native School. Following our formidable kuia Pumarau Hine Renata, also lovingly known as Auntie Bond, and her sister Auntie Betty Williams, my iwi purposefully closed Manaia School and birthed Te Wharekura o Manaia, so our tamariki and mokopuna have their right to be taught in Te Reo Māori me ona tikanga o te kāinga o te awawa o Manaia. Te Wharekura o Manaia has a roll of approximately 140 students from new entrants through to year 13, with students travelling from Whitianga, Haratonga, Coromandel, Thames and Paiwo. Te Wharekura o Manaia will celebrate its 20-year anniversary later this month. Te Korowai Haurua Hauraki is another legacy. It is a rural iwi-based not-for-profit incorporated society providing affordable health and wellness services across Hauraki for more than 25 years. The whānau health centres provide a wide variety of services to our community, from traditional GP services through to education, wellness care, mental health services, whānau support, home-based support services, health promotion and public health services. Te Korowai was born out of the dreams and aspirations of the two formidable queer I mentioned earlier, Auntie Bond Renata and Auntie Betty Williams, who fought for better health services due to the inadequate and poor services provided by mainstream providers of the time. Te Korowai would likely be one of the largest employers in the TCDC area. Betty Williams, lovingly known as Auntie Bet, led a full and interesting life and was a courageous campaigner for the rights of Māori, Indigenous peoples, and Te Taiao, the environment. Auntie Bet was a school teacher until an experience of structural analysis helped her critique the impact of the Pākehā education system on learners. Auntie Bet was part of an Indigenous Peoples International Study Group that visited developing countries and analysed the effects of capitalism on Indigenous peoples. She was active in the liberation on struggles of tangata whenua since the first land march in 1975, followed by the Whaingaroa, which is the Reka Golf Course, and Bastion Point land protests. Active in many issues pertaining to her hapu and iwi, Auntie Bet is also renowned for an absolute commitment to the protection of natural resources. She has been a leader in the resistance to gold mining companies, as well as fighting for the protection of the takutai moana and the environment of tikapa. Her commitment to the environment was inseparable from a passion for education as a method for liberation and to create a deep and respectful connection between humans and the earth. Dr. Martin Mikaere is a Hauraki-based GP. He is also the clinical director for Te Korowai Hauroa Hauraki and the Hauraki Primary Health Organisation. He has been awarded a Community Services Medal from the Royal New Zealand College of General Practitioners and is the first Māori doctor to wear a mataora. Denise Messiter, known to us as Nin, is adept with credentials incorporating 4 decades of leadership experience across the private, public and not-for-profit sectors in New Zealand, Australia and South Africa. Nin has held positions as Chief Executive Officer, Senior Executive Officer, Operational Managers and General Managers. She was instrumental in the development of Te Korowai Hauroa Hauraki as she was the first General Manager. Her governance experience includes chairing joint ventures, being an executive member of the New Zealand Māori Council, committee member for Ngāti Raukawa, a member of several ministerial advisory groups, and an advisor to the Commission of Inquiry into Abuse in State Care. For her contributions to local, national and international communities, Denise was awarded the Paul Harris Fellow of Rotary International. This is an award given to those who have demonstrated Rotary's highest ideal of service above self through humanitarian and educational efforts. Denise was also awarded the New Zealand Order of Merit. Denise is currently the Chief Executive Officer of Te Whāriki Mana Wāhine o Hauraki, also known as Hauraki Women's Refuge, advocating for a violence-free Hauraki, helping to save the lives of women and children here in Hauraki, and is currently a mayoral candidate for TCDC. Today, I have shared information with you about a few talented, highly skilled, courageous, extraordinary, hard-working people and legacies that are right here in the TCDC area. They all have commonalities. They are Māori. They are Māori who all whakapapatu here, who all reside here, and who have personal investments into a safer and healthier Hauraki nation, of which every person here benefits from. The majority of these people are women, and behind every great man is an even greater woman. At the beginning of this kōrero, I spoke of me being the mukapuna of many violations. Each of these people are mukapuna of these violations too. Our collective input has made the TCDC area a healthier part of New Zealand, in a country that continues to deny us our rights as Māori with false lies that we are all one. We are not all one, and we are not all the same. We each have differences, uniqueness, and when brought together as a collective, we raise the bar on the possibilities for the collective. To deny maintaining of Māori wards would be to the detriment of all. After all, the abuse and violations to Māori was not of Māori design. The abuse of women and government cuts to pay equity for women is not of Māori design. Women make up more than 50% of the TCDC population, and you too have the right to vote. It's time to rise, wahine mā, whānau mā. Me aroha koe ki te hā o hine ahuone. Pay heed to the dignity of women. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou. Kia ora.
So possibly you were hoping for a technocratic presentation and you didn't really get one. Thank God for that. This one people thing, I just have to share one experience I had as a teacher. And Betty Williams taught me virtually everything I know. But I was teaching a class on Te Tiriti online and this guy said to me, we're all one people, we're all one, just like my wife and I. And I'm like, ooh. I couldn't stop. The idea that men and women are one people. And I was like, I live in a household where me and my partner negotiate our relationship every day, much like a Te Tiriti. He made a complaint. Yeah. But he was also the guy that said colonisation was a form of mentoring. So there wasn't a lot of hope for him. And what concerns me is these people are in front of young people spewing their toxic racism. But hey, we have these people to counteract that. And thank you so much, the three of you. That was awesome. That's the second time I heard it, I got more out of it, which just shows you. We better set up a meeting for tonight and go and talk somewhere else, eh?